Hey guys, welcome back to Foreign Reacts. Today I'm going to be doing another one of my favorite videos to do, Americans Living Abroad, first time you realized America really messed you up. And this is really actually one of my favorites to do. Reason, it's really interesting to hear, the perspective of the Americans who have been overseas, in the European continent or other places of this world, to see what happens over there compared to what happens in America, which, it's really interesting. So we're going to be doing that today. So I do hope you guys are having a good day. I'd really appreciate it if you guys left a like on the video and subscribe. Would be awesome to have you guys a part of this family here at Foreign Reacts, where we do only foreign reactions. Everything done here has to be foreign to the reactor. And without further ado, guys, let's get right into the video.
I'm currently living abroad. What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Oh my gosh, such a great question. I have so many. The one that sticks out of my mind right now is the first time I celebrated the 4th of July and the Kiwis were like, oh, happy 4th of July. And I'm like, yeah, suckers. We broke away from the Queen a long time ago and we have freedom and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, hold on. What freedoms don't we have? And why is it bad that other countries work together to protect each other and help each other? And America's always talking about freedom and what freedoms do you have that we don't have? And I was like, hold up. All this rhetoric that I was told my whole life, the land of the free, we need to fight for our freedom, and it's such a value in the American society. And when you think about how many countries are just as free, where does this freedom value come from? I mean, it came back from the Revolutionary War, but hello, there's a lot of countries that are free. It was eye-opening.
American currently living abroad. What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Did y'all know that in other countries, they can go to the pharmacy and actually get what they need? I live in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia right now, and I went to the pharmacist and I was like, hi, I think I kind of have like a UTI. Like, do you have any pain medicine, any cranberry? And she's like, why don't I just give you antibiotic? And I was like, then I go back and I'm like, hi, I'm going to South Africa next week, like on safari, like any good, mosquito repellent? And she's like, girl, you want anti-malarials? And then I get bold with it, right? I go in there, on another occasion and I'm like, I'm back, I'm waiting for my birth control, like, to come from the US. Like, it's taken a while, prescriptions and doctors and all that. And she literally threw the birth control at me.
She threw it at you.
Amazing.
An American currently living abroad. What is one time?
That's actually a major thing with the healthcare system. You got to do a lot of that nonsense, going back and forth to the doctors. But it's really not necessary. It's really a plot twist. Like I've always said to people, America is for the money. And I'm not saying that everywhere else is not for the money and you can't make money anywhere else. But it's really like a scam. So it's like a cycle. So everybody has to get a cut out of the money. So practically the person who is buying, they have to go through so many processes, just to get that one particular item. And that causes them to spend way more money and, waste a lot of time. So it's really to benefit the businesses in America. That's really what it is, which is kind of sad. But yeah, that's what America is.
Did you realize that America really messed you up?
Just one?
Yeah,
If this tells you
one.
anything, I was only supposed to be abroad for a year. I'm on year 10.
Oh.
Yeah. Essentially, what I learned was me living, traveling, and working around the world was easier and cheaper than me just living in the US. So why would I go back to the US to live and spend more when I can travel and live in other countries and spend less? Make it make sense.
Yeah.
Time that made you realize that
That's
America
true.
really messed you up.
So I spent about 4 years in Berlin, Germany, working in advertising. And coming from New York, where my first 8 years in the industry, I just, you don't take vacation. You just don't really do that.
Yeah.
Well, I had to have a sit down with the CEO of my company and the head of HR, where they took my laptop and took my work phone and told me I could not come back to the office for 3 weeks because I had to use my vacation time. They were afraid that I was going to sue the company for not being allowed to take my vacation time. So they made sure that I literally could not work. Imagine that happening in the US. someone literally taking your computer and your work phone away and say, go, come back in 3 weeks, enjoy.
I can tell you a piece of this. I did a video. I don't remember what it was. I think the title was "Working in America." You guys can go check the playlist that I have. You guys can probably see that for yourselves. But it was a video about working in America, right? What it's like to work in America, and a lot of the folks actually, elaborated on that particular matter. And I never knew it was that bad because I've never really had a job like that. So but they were like, okay, I'm here on vacation, so I applied for it. And when I applied for it, I got approved that I was on my vacation, and I got called to come in for work. And I'm like, I'm on my vacation. People even got, people's mom probably like died, I think, also in the video. And they were literally saying, come in for work, like literally. So it's really different.
Your vacation. Honestly, Europe has a lot going for it that I wish Americans would understand.
What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
I was working as a teacher in South Korea, and a lot of students actually have these little box cutters to cut stuff. I was kind of concerned that these were allowed in school because I was scared that people were going to stab each other.
What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
So just for a little context, I live in Latvia now, but when this happened to me, I was working in the UK as a bartender. And my coworkers and I were talking about gun violence in the US, and they were kind of making jokes like, oh, I'm surprised you graduated and you didn't get shot first, and stuff like that. And I guess I was trying to defend it, so I was saying, it's not as bad as the news makes it seem. I only know one school that had an active shooter and had to go into lockdown, and, for me, I only had one gun threat in high school, and it was just a threat, and one when I was in elementary school. And then my coworkers kind of looked at me like, you what? And you think that's normal? And I was like, yeah, it's not even that bad.
You're an American currently living
See,
abroad.
for her, like, thing is, the media does make it worse, but what the media doesn't do is to compare it with other countries. The media does make it worse because they're trying to make money from the particular topics, but it is actually really bad when you compare other countries that are not having school shootings and all that kind of weird stuff going on. So it is really bad, but the media does make it technically, monetary value. So they try to exaggerate it and stuff like that, but it's really actually deeply bad when you compare it to other countries.
What is one time that made you realize that America really messed?
I'm a U.S. citizen currently living in Costa Rica. We have to be careful about the use of the word American since the Americas are continents. Anyway, I have so many examples of how the U.S. fucked me up, specifically Florida. We got to Costa Rica the second week in November, obviously still deep in the throes in the U.S. with COVID. And coming from Florida where there's so many anti-maskers and COVID deniers, it was surreal to go to these establishments here where everyone's following the Ministry of Health's rules. There's hand washing stations outside of every establishment. There are people taking your temperature to go into grocery stores and certain restaurants. People are giving you distance. Everyone is compliant with masks. And I found myself so defensively postured, ready to argue because I had gotten into so many arguments in Florida with anti-maskers and COVID deniers. It's amazing when people don't politicize a virus.
American currently living abroad.
Yeah,
What is
America is really politicized. Like, I really I'm over it right now. I don't even, I used to love the Republicans. And at this moment, I don't love the Republicans. I don't like the Democrats. I'm not involved in politics of America anymore. It's just stupid to be involved in that. But the mask thing, it's really important. When I was in Florida, I went to Florida in December or somewhere like that, right? And it was really, really a shocker for me because I was like, bro, nobody's wearing masks. And before that, I was in New York, and New York is very strict for the COVID due to the amount of deaths that they had, right? But for Florida, bro, I'm telling you, people were not wearing masks, bro, like dead ass, bro. Like, you'd see a few people wearing masks, but the average person wasn't, bro. Like that's facts.
Time that made you realize that America really messed you up.
2008 or 9, 20 years old, Munich, Germany. City passes the vibe check, no doubt, but I didn't have anyone with me. And I'm trying to get cigarettes from a machine. My ID doesn't work. Cop shouts from across the street. He's on his way to me. "Hey, you, sir, is there anything I can help you with?" And immediately I was, "No, I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. I'm getting out of here anyway." And I keep it moving. And he's like, no, hey, you. And I keep it pushing. Like, "Hey, you? Nah, get the fuck out of here." And the next cop stops me, and I immediately drop everything that's in my hands as I take my hands out of my pockets, so I don't get shot.
You don't get shot.
And
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
so he ends up buying me a pack of cigarettes, bringing me to the nearest bar, explaining to me that they go to 4 years of college to do this, get paid $50,000 a year more than our cops, and bought me a drink.
What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
When I lived in Paris, my period changed because there wasn't as much hormones in the food. If you live abroad for any length of time, your period will also become different over time and revert when you return.
American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
So for me, it was a few different times all while I was living in Australia. One time with the various shootings that we have here in the States, my boss came to me and he was like, "Are you okay? How are you feeling? Do you need some time off?" And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Because I heard about the shooting that happened back in the States." I had to sit there and have an honest moment with myself and him to realize that I had built up a numbness to all the shootings because they happen all the time.
Yeah, you do.
So that sucked.
Yeah.
Number 2. I have horrific cramps. I always have. They make me pass out. I throw up. I've been in the emergency room I don't know how many times at this point. It's just how it's been. I fought against it, but I finally had my roommate take me to the emergency room, and my total was $100 when I left. As someone who was only on a working holiday visa and not a $2,000 bill like it would have been in the States.
And currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
I first started school and asked them when we have our first training for school shootings, and they asked me, "What is that?" I walked into a supermarket and I was confused as to why there weren't any guns on the shelves. When I went on a walk with my friends and they wanted to walk...
You heard what he just said. I went in the supermarket and he was confused. Like, why is there no gun on the shelves, bro? Like, if you're an American and you don't experience this, something is wrong. This is something that every American should experience because the accessibility to guns in America is amazingly... It's scary. It is scary how easily you can actually get a gun. It is scary. People will try to deny it. It's hard. No, it's not. But he has a very blunt point right here, bro.
over someone's farm because it was a shortcut, and I said I didn't want to go because I was afraid of getting shot, and they looked at me like I was crazy.
Right.
When I saw police cars driving up and I realized that nobody besides me was scared shitless. When I watch political talk shows and they're actually having a conversation and discussing an actual topic instead of talking over each other and insulting each other. When I noticed that over here nudity and sexual expression was seen as natural and normal while violence is talked down upon, when in the States violence is everywhere and nudity and sexuality are taboo.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
Oh man, I got so many stories.
As
you may know, I'm an American living in Italy, and there have been so many times I'm thinking, oh my god, America is so messed up. Most recently is when I gave birth to my daughter. So I decided to give birth to my daughter here in Italy, and basically before you give birth, they recommend that you meet up with an anesthesiologist. Even if you don't want the epidural beforehand, they recommend you do so just in case, like an emergency, you really want one, or etc. So I didn't even end up getting the epidural, but I had to pay for the meeting, and I'm thinking, oh no, how much is this meeting gonna cost? It was 30 euros. 30 euros is the equivalent of maybe, let's say, like $40. And also too, I stayed in the hospital for 3 days, got completely taken care of, and I didn't pay a cent. A cent.
American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
So I'm an American and I live in Norway right now. And one time I was going to help my friend with this project that she had, and this girl was still in high school. And so she was like, yeah, just come to my high school. You can help me out, yada, yada, yada. I was like, great. Where do I have to sign in when I get there? Do I need to wear a visitor's badge? Who do I talk to? What should I tell the front desk lady? She was like, what are you talking about? Just walk in and I'll meet you at my classroom. And my mind was blown. I was like, I can just walk into your school? Like, no, aren't they gonna call the police? Aren't they gonna send out an intruder alert? Like, I can't just walk into your high school and just walk straight to your classroom. No. Then I realized just how messed up it is that American high schoolers are like security prisons.
American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
So I live in Romania, and I feel like the most astonishing thing to me when I moved here was how easy it is to find someone to go out with, to go out and have drinks with, to go out and have dinner with.
That's easy.
Any given day, somebody wants to go out. Whereas in the US, I feel like we're all so stressed out and miserable that we just want to stay home.
Aww. I cannot co-sign that one. I can't co-sign that one. But I do know that a lot of US people, they got to be doing all them 2 jobs, 4 jobs, 10 jobs, 1,500 jobs. But yeah, it's kind of, she has a point.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So I live in Estonia now.
Estonia, okay.
And I remember the first year that I moved here, it was around the beginning of December. And I remember hearing like gunshots, like really loud gunshots, like, and a lot of them. So me being from Brooklyn, I immediately think there's some crazy shootout going on
Brooklyn.
outside. So I go and I look out the window, and sure enough, it's fireworks.
Oh, it was fireworks? Oh,
fireworks are kind of sort of illegal in New York City. So I was used to just automatically assuming that
it's gunshots.
It was gunshots.
But that's Brooklyn, though. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
That's kind of when I realized that America's kind of messed up.
What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
So when I was a teenager, I went out of the country one time to go on vacation to the Bahamas, and we were staying at this resort, and shit happened. I caught a virus that was going around the resort, and then I had an allergic reaction to the virus, and I couldn't really breathe. But the on-site paramedic had already left for the day, so the hotel concierge took us to the hospital in his van and just told us to call when we were ready to head back. So we go to the hospital, I get treated, and as we're leaving, my mom tries to give them her insurance card, and she's telling them, like, I'm so sorry, we've never been out of the country before, I don't know how to do this. They told her, like, oh no, you just keep that, we don't take insurance here. And the look on my mom's face was terrified, like, oh my god, we're gonna have to sell our house, terrified. This was when they realized we were Americans, and they were like, oh no, don't panic, you must be American, we have universal health care here, you just need to pick up your medicine in the lobby, you're fine.
So you're trying to tell me that every country in this bloody world actually looks at you like, oh, you're American, you don't have to pay. Every country knows this? Now that's embarrassing. I do not want to travel ever. I'm just playing. I do want to travel. I do want to actually experience this for myself, but it's going to be traumatizing just to be in a situation and people are like, but I don't think it's going to be traumatizing for me because I'm going to actually be in a situation where I'm like, okay, so I watched the videos, I've seen this. Is this actually real? And I guess, I don't know, I'm just probably going to be a little bit in denial, just a little bit. And when it happens, I'm going to be like, what? You know, but I don't think I'm going to be in as bad of a situation as most of these folks because I'm not as ignorant to the situation as they are. So, yeah, hopefully.
The medicine was $8, and they gave me a note to give to the airline to get back into my own country.
That's wild. But either ways, man, that was a beautiful video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. We out of here, man. And peace.